Get started. Again, thank you everybody for attending. We're going to have a couple of polls and questions along the way, so please make this as interactive as possible. Without further ado, let's kick it off. So my name is Dan Golden. I'm President and Chief Search Artist over at BeFound Online. I've been doing search marketing for about 10 or 11 years now, pretty much all I've ever done. Really excited to be presenting with one of our representatives over at Google, and I will let Anita give herself an introduction.
Thank you, Dan. My name is Anita Abram, and I work with agencies and third parties here at Google. I've been at Google for 5 years, so I have a lot of experience in the online marketing space.
And specifically, restaurants, which is our topic du jour. So running through the agenda real quick. Want to talk about just our partnership, let you know who we are. I think a lot of you might have heard of the Google before. And then dig into some restaurant insights, talk about some of the specific launches and recent announcements over on the Google end, talk about enhanced campaigns, and then really dive into some tips, tricks, and tactics that we've seen working for some of our clients, and then get to some useful Q&A. So a little bit about BeFound Online, and I promise this won't be a long sales pitch here. We are an ad agency, a digital marketing agency based out of Chicago, Illinois. We do a number of different things in the digital realm. So from search engine optimization, paid search, digital media, which is beyond paid search, including display, retargeting, social advertising, local, which is a big piece of what we've been doing with restaurants, and then tying that in with social media and reputation management. So we're recognized on the Inc. 5000 list as the 4th fastest growing agency in Chicago, voted by Brill Street to be the in the top 20 best places to work for. We've been a Google certified partner for I think 6 years now, and some of those other creds as well. So that's a little bit about us. Again, we got our start as being a paid search company, focused directly on PPC. And as the eyeballs have shifted across platforms and across different tactics, we've evolved our practice with it. So again, whereas we were spending most of our budgets just on paid search, as all of these new products come out, as the eyeballs move to social, it's important to make sure that the marketing tactics are keeping up with the eyeballs and where customers are spending most of their time. Again, a few of these we're going to hit on today. Paid media and paid search is going to be the primary focus, but we're also going to talk a little bit about local and some of the other things that are highly pertinent to the restaurant audience. So, going through some of our experience in the restaurant vertical, we work with a number of large restaurant chains, helping them navigate the digital ecosystem. So we're omitting the logos here because we don't want to give any specific tactics we've done for some of our clients away. Again, due to confidentiality there, but we've worked with a very varying range of different types of QSRs, as well as other food and restaurants. So again, very different behavior when we're talking about restaurants versus online retail or hospitality or any of the other vertical. A lot of the tactics are going to be the same. We're talking about paid ads and ad extensions and managing locations. But the restaurant audience and the way people interact with restaurants is very different from a lot of other verticals. So hopefully we'll impart some of our knowledge that we've gained from some of these clients over the years, and it will be useful for those of us on the line.
And because BeFound Online has a lot of great experience working with different industries, including restaurants, they are one of the valued Google partners. So Google picks agencies and third parties that resell our products to their clients to participate in our agency program. We offer product beta information, training support, and a lot of Google-specific support to these agencies. Only a select amount of agencies are part of this program. So today we'd like to showcase the great relationship that BeFound Online has with Google and some of the insights they get from us.
All right, enough of the sales pitch. Let's move on, and I think before we go too much further, we've got a poll just to see who's on the line, and maybe we can tailor some of our content based on the audience that we have today. All right, so the poll should be launched. Really just looking to see if you're a franchisee, you've got a single restaurant, or are managing multiple locations. So I'm going to give that another 5 seconds, 3 seconds, 2 seconds. All right, closing the poll, and I'm going to pass the torch over to Anita to run through some of this wonderful restaurant data that we've compiled from Google.
Thank you, Dan. So today I wanted to give you guys some insights that Google and third parties have concluded about the restaurant industry and how consumers are changing their behavior about where to dine. Google, a couple of years ago, has completed a study called ZMOT, which stands for the Zero Moment of Truth. The Zero Moment of Truth centers around all the online research a consumer does before they purchase a product or decide to use a service. While ZMOT can definitely apply to retail, it's been updated over the years, and there's been a focus on restaurants as well. And what we found the research that we found has indicated that shoppers and consumers are not just taking time to research retail, travel, etc. They're taking more and more time to research what restaurants they will dine at. So that decision can take anywhere from several hours to several days, giving you the chance to influence these consumers about their restaurant choices. So while shoppers are taking more time to decide where to eat, they're also consulting more sources than ever. Today, shoppers are consulting almost 6 sources to decide which restaurant to eat at. That makes sense because there is more competition and shoppers have more choice. This represents an opportunity for restaurants to drive branding across multiple marketing channels to be top of mind when people are searching for restaurants. We also know that people are turning to their mobile phones more than ever. So 30% of all restaurant searches are done on a mobile phone. That makes sense, when you're out and about deciding where to eat, or if you're, just waiting at the doctor's office doing some research about that fancy dinner reservation you have for the weekend. You're really turning to your mobile phone to help you do that.
And this stat, again, there's a lot of different stats based on different types of restaurants. We've seen this just growing almost exponentially over the last couple of years. So on our side, we've seen some restaurant clients where more than half the activity is already happening on mobile devices. And again, the shift in tactics in order to target those people is needs to be pretty dramatic. In terms of how restaurants stack up to other categories that we work with, it's a lot faster. The mobile adoption for restaurants, and again, it makes sense. You're out and about and hungry, and you search on the device that you have in front of you. So that's, I would say, a lot faster in the restaurant category than any of the other verticals that we've worked with.
That's absolutely right. Now let's take a look at some very specific types of restaurants within the restaurant industry. We've compiled some insights that we'd like to share with you today. This slide here shows a leading list of family mid-scale restaurants. It wasn't decided by Google, it was decided by the Mintel research group. On the left side, we actually see the top 10 leading family restaurants for 2012. This list may be a little bit different from 2013 if you don't see yours on there. I'm sure you definitely have the chance. On the right side, we actually see the most popular food that is eaten at these restaurants. So again, just trying to arm you guys with the type of insights of what diners are really interested in, so that you can build good marketing campaigns around that. Well, we've also looked at the restaurant usage by the time of day, specifically for these family mid-scale restaurants, and it's clear that breakfast is this market sweet spot. There's a 55% usage of breakfast compared to 40% for lunch and 43% for dinner. That's not to say that you shouldn't sustain sales all day, but just know that there's definitely a sweet spot with breakfast. Another thing to note on this slide is that The age range of 18 to 24-year-olds are more likely than average to dine at family restaurants for all day, for the entire day, not just breakfast. So having fast service, hours of operation, and a good variety of beverage options are attributes that are more likely to attract the 18 to 24-year-old customer. When looking at these family dining restaurants, we also this research house also looked at what the average person was spending. There is actually a declining trend we see here from 2010 to 2011, where the spend per person has gone down. But if your restaurant offers different dining choices, it's a good idea to highlight these and highlight promotions and different aspects of your restaurant and menu through more online marketing, so that you're really driving people to actually spend more when they get inside the restaurant. And so we've seen that for a lot of other verticals. When people do research before online and they're able to consider multiple brands and multiple sources, they actually end up spending more when they go into the actual store or location. So let's take a little turn here towards fast food restaurants and share some insight about those. Um, going along with the themes of families, we know that moms a lot of times make the dining choices for their family. So what moms actually do to decide what fast food restaurants to take their families to is that they actually consult the internet more than any other source. And the internet is really effective at helping moms decide what to buy, because 4 out of 5 have made a purchasing decision as a result of using a search engine. So they made a purchase online in restaurants. So that means is they've decided to order Domino's online, or other types. You order, I think, Taco Bell online now. So different types of food that they've been able to research, they've actually decided to make a purchase after their research. So research online is effective, and it's important for your restaurant to have a presence online so that moms can decide to pick your food for their families. Another source that moms use to make a purchase decision, we know that people use on average almost 6 sources. It's possible moms use more than that, is video. Online video really helps narrow down their choices. Great, so we've looked at family mid-scale restaurants so far. We know that breakfast is a hot trend. We know that 18 to 24-year-olds really like those restaurants. We know that for fast food, the internet is important for moms to help make a decision. Now let's do a 180 and talk about healthy dining trends. There's been a lot of hype around healthy dining, but our studies have actually found that it's really taste and satiation. I actually just realized I can't say that word. It's really taste and that instant satisfaction that trump health in driving menu choice. So although people go to healthy dining restaurants and they say they want to be healthy, we found that more people really just want to order something tasty.
Let's get satiated.
There we go. While consumers do go to healthy dining restaurants to eat foods that have these healthy ingredients. It's something to just kind of keep in mind. Again, keep all these insights in mind when you're building out your marketing campaigns and you're deciding what ad text to use or how to attract these potential customers to your business.
And that's one thing, and we'll get into some of the tactics later, but some of the new ad formats in terms of image extensions, site link extensions, which allow us to merchandise multiple product benefits and options all at once. Adding in that healthy option is another way to kind of add on to the existing marketing that you have. I know for a lot of QSRs, marketing as a healthy restaurant doesn't necessarily make sense given the primary source of revenue and the majority of products that are sold. But it is something that can be added into an existing program to kind of complement that messaging and speak to multiple different types of consumers.
What they also found with healthy dining is that while people look at ingredients and healthy dining choices, there's definitely a disconnect revealed between their attitude towards healthy dining and what they think they're trying to accomplish and the action they actually take at restaurants, whether they're healthy dining restaurants or not. They tend to choose what they want in the moment, something tasty. They'd like to get satiated rather than getting healthy. So not to say there's definitely not options out there for healthy restaurants to advertise their menus, but again, something to keep in mind. So now that we've talked about different insights for restaurants, for the entire industry, we know that people are taking much more time to make a decision and consulting more sources, let's talk about how you can actually get in front of them while they're making these decisions. But first, poll question.
All right, poll number 2 should be up there. This should be an easy one, yes or no. Three, two, last chance. All right. What were the results, Heather? I'm not seeing it up here.
73% voted, and there was a 50-50 split on other things as well.
All right.
Okay.
Real quick, for those of you that have not currently signed up for Google AdWords, we do actually have a little reward at the end of this that we can follow up with you. There is a coupon for $300 in advertising credit exclusively for those of us attending this webinar. So if this convinces you, you need to give it a shot. We will be happy to provide those coupon codes after the webinar.
So I'll go ahead and talk about what AdWords is, but if you don't listen to this part at all, I would just take away that it's pretty great and that you do want the $300 coupon. For those of you who aren't using AdWords, I'll do a quick explanation here of the parties in the AdWords ecosystem that makes sense, because we need to consider the players in AdWords to really understand why it works. So first are the users or viewers. They're people like you and me who go to google.com and enter in I don't know, romantic date restaurant for Saturday night. I really just want tacos, the new Doritos taco at Taco Bell. So we enter our search into Google, and we expect to see results that we want and results that are speaking to exactly what we were thinking when we searched. We then have you, the advertisers, who want to serve us relevant ads so that we click on your ads and then we buy your product, we go to your restaurant, we use your service, etc. And then, of course, as the publishers, people like Google, who want to serve relevant ads so that people are happy, they click on them, and everyone makes money. So the only way to make all three parties happy is if we serve the most relevant and the highest quality content. If advertisers are seeing relevant ads, users will click on them, and everyone is happy. So what happens with Google AdWords is that we're trying to serve the most relevant ads, but a lot of people don't know how we do that, even people who are using AdWords. So every time someone searches on Google, every single search query, every single time, every single person, an auction takes place to decide which are the top ranked ads. The position of the ad on the results page is decided by two different factors that you see here in the blue. You've got the max CPC bid, and you've got a quality score. A max CPC bid is the most you're willing to pay for someone to click on your ad. Quality score is a bit more complex, but it's basically a grade from 1 to 10 that we assign a keyword, and it takes user input, the relevance of your ad and landing page into account. We then multiply the two to give you your ad position. To quickly explain quality score, there are three main components. The first is the relevance of your ad and keywords to the user search query. The second is the relevance of your landing page, how quickly it loads, etc. And finally, we have something at Google that we call click-through rate, or CTR. If your ad has a high click-through rate, that means a lot of people are clicking on your ad and you've got a great Google advertising account. Because the auction does incorporate user feedback, small and large advertisers alike have the ability to appear in the search results. Just to give you a couple benefits of Google AdWords, so now we know it's that ad that shows up when you search for something in Google, and we know how it shows up. The thing to note about Google AdWords is that you really get control over your message. You've got ownership of your account. You can decide which ad text or which ad copy to write, or hire someone to do it for you. You've got complete control over how you want to represent your company, your restaurant, etc. You can experiment with different ad copies to see which one is the most relevant and attracts the most users. And remember, you only pay when somebody clicks on your ad. Now let's say that you've got an amazing ad and it's really receiving a lot of clicks, but just know that's only one part of the equation. The user must also have a good experience with your website once people click away from your ad to your website. And having great desktop and especially mobile sites is a foundation for good online marketing. Google AdWords lets you control which landing pages go with which ad copy. And something that Dan mentioned earlier for you guys who aren't familiar with it is Google also lets you link additional specific pages underneath your ad text. And those specific pages may relate more to what users are searching for. And so people who are searching for, let's say, I'm searching for, I'm a mom and I'm searching for evening specials because I really want to order pizza for my kids when they get home from school. If I see an ad for a pizza company and I see in this ad a link specifically to their evening specials underneath the ad text, I'm more likely to click on it because that's what I was looking for. So those specific pages are called site links. Site links that have ads or ads that have site links get a 10, 11, 12% click-through rate, whereas a traditional text ad gets about 3%.
One thing we've seen in terms of just the landing page control that we get from AdWords, it's a common question that we get from a lot of our clients in terms of already showing up on top when a customer is searching for the name of your restaurant or your brand name. We've done extensive testing just in terms of what that incremental lift is we see from being in paid in addition to the organic or the free results. And a big differentiator there is the landing pages. On the paid side, what we'll typically do is create landing pages that either have coupons, compelling offers, or the most relevant and current specials with a strong call to action to either a store locator or directing people to online ordering. And so from there, even though we're paying for that click versus just capturing it organically, we see a much higher conversion rate because there's a call to action in the ad, and it aligns with the landing page that we're sending people to.
Absolutely. And another question is, well, how do you know where to send people and which people to direct to your ads? Google actually lets you control geographic targeting, and using this geographic targeting, you're able to add really relevant information about your business. So Google lets you target a city or a radius around an address, a metro area, state, or country. If I'm a restaurant, I'm probably targeting just the people who are close to my restaurants or people in that city. And I can choose to show the location of my restaurant to someone who's close to me. I can choose to show the phone number. So, oftentimes people do like to call restaurants and ask how late they'll be open or call for reservations. And ads that have those phone numbers drive, again, a huge increase in CTR because people are more likely to use that function. So as we mentioned, another benefit of Google AdWords is really the targeting. So you can serve ads to very specific geographic areas that you can set within your AdWords account. You can go as broad as you'd like. You can create national campaigns, or you can go down to the zip code level. The benefit that really ties AdWords all together is the ROI. It's actually really hard to know exactly what you're getting out of your advertising dollars, especially when you're doing things like a billboard or direct mail. You don't know how many eyes are looking at it. You don't know how many people have taken action. But Google AdWords is an advertising platform that's accountable, and it makes it easier for you to measure your campaign performance. You only pay when somebody clicks on your ad, and you can see in your account exactly how many people are clicking and when. You decide what monthly budget you want to allocate to AdWords, and we won't charge you past that. We define your return by your advertising objective. So is your goal to get more people in your restaurant? We can measure, we can measure kind of the store locator clicks, we can measure calls, etc. Is your goal to get brand awareness and just get more people knowing that you have a restaurant or that you have this franchise? Maybe your franchise is now moved to a different state, and people just aren't that familiar with your type of restaurant. We can do branding campaigns and measure impressions off that too. Metrics are reported to your account immediately, and we give you a high level of insight in your investment. You get specific data pertaining to how many people visited your site, amount you're charged, etc. And you have additional tools within AdWords and Google Analytics that track website metrics as well. So we've talked about how Google AdWords really helps connect people to your company when they're looking for it. But what's really important is a local aspect as well. And we've recently released a core modification to our products to Google AdWords that helps people find local businesses faster and helps people take advantage of all these mobile trends.
Just on a side note to that, I've been working in the Google AdWords platform for over 10 years now, and I would say that enhanced campaigns, there's always a new whistle or a bell launching, pretty much every other week. I would say enhanced campaigns, just in terms of the capability and the effect that it has on how campaigns are structured, is probably the biggest change that we've seen in the AdWords interface since the quality score was introduced. So big change and a lot of opportunity. So we've seen a number of advertisers that have really shifted what the strategy and tactics are. And I'll let Anita jump back in with some of the specifics.
Absolutely. So before we talk about why we made this change, we should talk about why we did it. The reality is we're living in a multi-screen world where everyone is constantly connected. Users are searching on PCs, desktops, phones, and tablets. People are moving seamlessly between multiple devices, whether you're at home, you're in the office, you're on the go, you're with friends, etc. You pretty much have your phone always in your hand. There's actually a study published recently talking about how people always take their phone to the bathroom because we're just so bored sitting there.
Guilty.
you need that phone to keep you entertained. So we really can't ignore that we're living in a constantly connected world where a phone has become a part of our bodies. Mobile is playing a key role in this behavioral shift, and it has a huge impact on the way that you should advertise and the way that you should engage with your customers.
And as an agency, this is something we've been doing for quite some time in terms of segmenting strategies between mobile, tablet, and desktop. I will say that it's been a very cumbersome exercise up until this point because we're really needing to look at multiple campaigns. It's almost a whole different ballgame when we're dealing with mobile as desktops. And there's a lot of advertisers out there that don't have the time or diligence to really create 3 campaigns based on the devices. And the way that consumers are shifting, I use devices interchangeably. You'll find me at home on the couch with my, well, now I finally made the move to a Mac, but it was in front of my Windows computer with my iPad right next to it, and I'm still an Android man in terms of the phone. So 3 different platforms, and I look at content interchangeably between the 3 of them. I use the same browser; it's all synced. So for me, I'm there. It's a seamless experience, and what we found and what is that most advertisers are still looking at these as, well, how's my mobile doing, and what am I getting from my tablet app, and how's my website performing? And what we're finding is that it's the same person across multiple devices. So the tracking is just catching up to user behavior, and we're not quite there yet. This is a step in the right direction because oftentimes looking at analytics that's based on cookies, you're saying, well, I saw this happen on mobile, but I didn't get a conversion there, so that must not be a good click. But then someone came directly to my site and converted. They must have already known my brand, when in fact it's the same person that's accessing your site on a mobile device and then converting on a desktop. In the case of restaurants, that's a little bit vice versa, where people are searching on their desktop, doing kind of the discovery searches, figuring out where they want to eat. And then when they're out in the neighborhood, they're looking it up on their phones.
Yeah, so we really have to consider a lot of trends when we're living in this multi-device world. The first is that devices are evolving really quickly, so it's not just a phone anymore, it's a mini computer in your pockets. There's a lot of apps and web browser activity. The second piece is that people are constantly switching between devices, using the one that works best for where they are. I know that mobile has been called an on-the-go companion, but we've actually done some recent studies that show that when you're at home, you're more likely to use your mobile device because it's closest to you. So people like convenience. People don't even go to their desktops or laptops anymore at home. I mean, at least not all the time. It's literally your constant companion. It's always there. And the last piece, which Dan talked about just now, was that device evolution has really changed. So there's new ways to measure this effectiveness. We have to consider a lot more actions that are leading to mobile and web conversions and have a full attribution model for looking at our campaigns.
And just one other shout out to that second point there in terms of mobile activity at home. We see huge spikes in mobile activity around TV campaigns because you're sitting there on the couch, you see the TV, you pick your phone up. We were doing some hourly reporting and just we're finding, why are we seeing these mobile spikes? Where is it coming from? And sure enough, coincided directly with TV schedules.
Absolutely, yeah. So let's quickly take the following advertising challenge. This is supposed to be for a bank, but I much prefer pizza to banks, and I don't think we have any banks on the line, so I didn't offend anyone. So a pizza shop is looking to attract more customers. They know a couple of things about their audience. They know they're likely to attract more foot traffic during lunchtime, specifically between the hours of 11:30 a.m. 1:30 p.m. from people who are on their mobile devices. But in the evening time, specifically between the hours of 6 to 8 p.m., they're more likely to attract deliveries. So having seen this data on how people use their devices, we asked ourselves at Google, how can we make it easier for advertisers to address their campaigns to people's intent and their context? So we consider their context as what device they're using, what time it is, and what location they're in. How do we make life better for the people who click on the advertising? And how do we make it easier for you to advertise? So the solution is, of course, enhanced campaigns, and is the biggest modification AdWords since quality score. Enhanced campaigns is meant to make advertising across devices smarter, more powerful, and more measurable. It makes it easier to be relevant to the people's context. So again, considering location, device, and time to be part of that. And I think it's especially relevant for the restaurant industry, and of course, especially if you're a pizza shop. So go to the next slide. There are 3 key features that make it possible to customize your campaigns now with enhanced campaigns. So there's 3 things I want to talk about, and we can also talk about how they relate to our pizza example. The first is the bidding ability. So we've got powerful new bidding tools that let you manage your bids across devices, locations, and times. So without getting too granular, what you can do now at the campaign and ad group level is you would set your keyword bids just like any other data search campaign, but you can now raise bids or decrease bids by a certain percentage basis for those specific cues we just named. So in our pizza shop example, we want to raise our bids for people who are within half a mile of your pizza shop at lunchtime between 11:30 a.m. and 1:30 p.m. So what we would do is we would set a day part for 11:30 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. and bid for that. We would adjust the bid percentage for mobile, so we bid up, say 200%, and we bid up 200% for people that are within half a mile of your pizza shop, because the people who are closest to you are more valuable. The second modification we made was smarter ads. So you now have the ability to show the right ad, the right site link or extension based on user context and device capabilities within one campaign. You can show your desktop ads to the desktop user. So for example, it could be that this mom was using a tablet or a desktop to order pizza for her kids in the evening time. But we also know that we want to show mobile ads for those people walking around my pizza shop during lunchtime. So you can have both of those ads in one campaign and make one mobile preferred so that it only shows up on mobile devices. Not only that, you can have individual site links underneath the ad text. So we talked about those earlier today. And those individual site links have now gotten more granular reporting, so you can see which links are working best. Maybe it's the evening, or maybe the order now button or link is not as relevant and not as powerful as the online specials button for pizza. So you have a lot of granularity into what you can do. And the third piece, which Dan also started to talk about, was more advanced reporting. So we realized that because people are doing different actions on their mobile devices, we also have to consider all of these as potential new conversions that really increase your ROI. So we know that people are making calls, and we know that a certain number of calls lead to actual sales, whether that's over the phone or they actually go in the store. Digital app downloads are now a conversion. In-store purchases, we can try to measure that by looking at offers offline. And the last piece, which everyone is really excited about, it's not available yet, but it's coming soon, is cross-device conversion. So that actually looks at conversions that may start on a mobile phone and end on a laptop or PC or a tablet, or vice versa. So for the first time ever, we'll be able to see, have more of a glimpse into what people's path is across all these devices.
Woohoo! I'm excited about that one. We've been asking for years.
Everyone's excited about that one.
On the analytics side, universal analytics is changing
Yes.
some methodology and how people are tracked to really get everybody out of their silos. Over the last couple of years, there have been a lot of great advancements in terms of measuring attribution across digital marketing channels. So understanding the effect that you see from social channels, from display, where you capture that in search or in direct traffic. So that's been a great step. Again, trying to evolve from this whole last click wins and truly understanding where all those digital touch points are for each different type of consumer. The big gap has really been across devices. So we're on the cusp of technology catching up to user behavior. So lots of cool new features. And as promised, I want to get to some very tactical tips and tricks and talk a little bit about what approaches we've taken with some of our existing clients, as well as some tactics and things to think about before you go and start playing with all of these new tools that are available. But first, another poll. Don't think too hard, click them. Oh, and you can check more than one, I've been told, so you don't have to pick. Really just interested to see what everybody's tested, and we'll have a look at that as we're running through the remainder of the presentation. All right, half of you have voted so far. All right, we've unpolled. Thank you. So one other thing, don't see a lot of questions in there, but feel free to ask some of those as well, and we'll look at that along the way, see if we can get some of those answered as we're going through it. And without further ado, let's roll up our sleeves and talk about, given all of these new options and opportunities, how do we start testing this? I should have made this a poll. See if anybody knows who this is and why. Not Newton. Anybody else? You can just type it in the question. Okay, it's Voltaire. With great power comes great responsibility. So with enhanced campaigns, there's a lot of cool features out there. There's bid modifiers, new ways to geo-target, different types of ad units, a lot of new opportunities to tweak and really refine how ads are served, who we're targeting, and why. So I want to make sure we focus on the why, because while I will always give advice to roll up your sleeves and test and start playing with all these new features and start gathering your own data, it's very important to start with your own analytics to make sure that you fully understand how your customers are using each of your devices, and then making sure that you're modifying your bid strategy and all of your digital strategies based on that. So a few places where we would start. So one, site analytics. Whether you're using Google Analytics or a third-party analytics platform, looking at your own visitor data. Look at the top pages that people use. Look at the exit points on the site. Making sure that you understand the user behavior, which pages people are going to, which actions are most important. Before we start making some of those targeting decisions. Something that's often ignored when devising digital campaigns is looking at your own POS systems and CRM data. So understanding where most of your customers are coming from in terms of their zip code, how far customers are willing to travel, and for your best customers, how often do they return? That's going to help determine some frequency caps in terms of remarketing. There's a lot of data that we can get from different sources that you own before you start tweaking some of the different AdWords features. Within AdWords, so for the half of you that are already running AdWords campaigns, dimensions. So if you've been targeting to a nationally or targeting based on states or cities, and we'll go through some of those recommendations shortly, we can get some data based on how different people perform in different markets. So that's one thing that we've used with enhanced campaigns, where we can now bid more aggressively in one market versus another. You can leverage our existing data in order to determine how we want to set that up. The other piece of it is performance data and conversion. So again, there's a lot of restaurants out there, and what we've seen, it's a multi-location chains, the franchisees that have really sophisticated online ordering. But as we know with restaurants, there's not a lot of people that eat food online. I think Google had like a scratch and sniff feature, Google Smell, on April Fool's Day this year.
Oh no, that actually exists, yeah.
That's real?
No.
Okay, no wonder. I left a lot of smudges on my screen. So in the restaurant category, again, we want to talk about digital metrics and everything that we can do, and certainly we're seeing a spike across every client we work with in terms of online orders and people wanting to find all that information. But at the end of the day, restaurants, people go to your restaurants to eat. So we need to make sure we're measuring not just online orders, and not just looking at the digital channel in terms of how much online orders are generated. So we want to look at everything in terms of offline buying behavior. So store locator usage is one. Again, everything we want to do is to drill down as far as possible to understand really what that online buying behavior is. So lookups of the store locator, people that actually go through and get directions, coupon prints, and again, there's a lot that can be done on the couponing side in terms of Google offers. Some of the clients we've worked with that have more sophisticated POS systems will do some unique online coupons, and unique online coupons that are specific to certain digital channels. So display, paid search, retargeting, Facebook all have their own coupons, and we can actually measure redemption of those coupons in the store by matching up POS system data. Another big online activity we see is newsletter and loyalty club signups. Those email marketing, as much as we're talking about other digital media tactics, is still a high-performing channel. So we want to make sure we're looking at everything: app downloads and phone calls, people making dinner reservations or just calling to find a location. So when we're looking at it, we really want to look at all online buying behavior, and to take it a next step is we want to get as sophisticated as we can in terms of turning that into an ROI. There's all sorts of online actions, but how does that translate into the bottom line? So we want to start with gathering data. So most new clients that we've come across really don't understand all of the online touch points, and especially as we're dealing with mobile, and frankly, a lot of these options weren't available until about a month ago. So we want to make sure we're gathering data from all of these different platforms and all of the different conversion points. So again, the phone calls, store locator views. So that's all great, but how do we measure that? What does that really mean? So obviously more action is better, more online orders, great. But in order to fully understand which channels are actually driving profitable sales, we need to assign some values to that. So one of the ways to do that is through testing. Again, unless you've got a bouncer at the door that asks everybody exactly what their search history was, and if they found us on a mobile device, and if they have the app, whether they saw a TV ad or heard us on the radio or saw us on a billboard, it's a very complicated mix. We all know that. So one of the ways is to do some testing. So with multi-location clients, we've done some market level testing where we're looking at in-store lift based on store locator usage to really understand, all right, that's great. I had 1,000 people visit my store locator last month. How many of those people actually made it into the store? And of those people, how many actually bought? So there's a really cool tool that Google's put together. It's called the Value of Mobile Calculator. The link, I believe we're going to have a link to the presentation here, and that's a live link there, where you can take some of your own data and put together that equation to figure out what the actual ROI is when you blend it across all of these other actions. So the next step, once you actually understand that, and again, there's some subjectivity to it, but there really is a science behind assigning values to each different action. So an online order is pretty simple. You bought $20 worth of food, we spend $1 for that click, woohoo, we win. Some of the other stuff is a little bit harder. So again, measuring the number of coupon prints to the number redeemed, you can get a number in terms of how many of those views are actually turning into customers. Same with get directions and loyalty clubs. That's another thing where I know most of the clients we work with on the CRM side really know what the value of that client is over time. So again, by assigning different values to these online actions, we can really look at a more holistic approach in terms of what does this actually mean. And then again, once you have all this data, step 4, optimize based on it. So when we're gathering, looking at the full ROI potential, this is going to tell us which keywords are actually working really well for us, and which sites we should be going against. Understanding the value, is social really driving as much activity? Does that match up with the budget and resources we've put against it? And really use this information to tell you how do you set up your campaigns, and how do you determine if it's actually a success. So next step, I want to talk about some of our, again, with enhanced campaigns, some of the favorite features that we've seen and how we use them. So ad scheduling, be relevant always. So time of day messaging, as you know, when someone walks in the door at 10:50 a.m., they're looking for something different than someone who's showing up at 6:40 p.m. So with the ad scheduling, it used to be very hard and tedious in order for us to have different ads running at different times of day. There's been a number of features on Google's end that makes that a lot easier. So again, being relevant to meal times is a great feature. Also, store hours. So you're probably not going to, for some restaurants that are not open late night, you're not going to want to be as aggressive on non-branded keywords during those times. We'll talk a little bit about kind of the opposite effect we've seen from day parting. But again, using aggressive coupons during off-peak hours. So for QSRs in that 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. When you have a lull, you could be promoting specific coupons during those hours to focus on increasing the bottom line. And again, likewise during key periods, that's another opportunity where you might want to get a little bit more aggressive. And with enhanced campaigns, it's gotten a lot easier for us to say, during 4 to 6 p.m. that's our peak. One thing I would always want to look at is just peak traffic volumes versus when you actually have a peak within the restaurant. Oftentimes you're going to see search behavior and online behavior is between 1 to 5 hours before you actually start seeing that increase within the restaurant. So one warning to have with ad scheduling, because again, lots of features, and if you go gung-ho, you need to make sure you understand all the nuances. Time zones. So the ad scheduling is based on the time zone of the account, and for multi-location restaurant chains that have locations across the country and in different time zones, you might want to look at a structure that's going to treat some of the regions separately, just with the timing of the ads. Talking about breakfast at noon on the East Coast. If your campaign was based out of the West Coast, timing could be a little bit off. So that's something to be aware of. My bold prediction is with the contextual ads and how smart they're getting, that the time zone and the bid increments are gonna happen based on the time zone of the user and not of the account. That's Dan talking, not Google yet, but
yeah, it's not an official Google positioning for anyone tweeting about this.
That's my prediction. I think it'll be coming. And the other is to just use the right metrics. So making sure that we're focused on efficiency and impression share, and not just based on volume. So for a lot of restaurants that are only open in the daytime, you're going to see a lot less volume between midnight and 5 a.m. But the way that paid advertising works is you're only paying for those clicks. So we've had some clients that are looking to, well, why don't we just turn things off at night? And the counter to that, and we've seen some data to support it, is, well, those people that are searching at midnight are probably planning breakfast or lunch for the next day. And while the volume is a lot lower, so is your budget. So what we've done a little bit less of is actually pulling out during those periods, because again, people are still researching their meals sometimes days in advance. So it's just important to really look at efficiency. So are you wasting a lot of money during the off hours, or wasting a lot of money at at night? Then we would probably recommend turning your bids down later. But again, low volume doesn't necessarily mean you want to shut stuff off. So ad extensions are another piece that we find that have been there, but we really like what we see with enhanced campaigns. One is being device specific. So we might want to promote an app or an app download that you wouldn't promote on a desktop. With the way that ads are served contextually, we're now able to serve that on a mobile device instead of on serving the same extensions across devices. So again, when someone's nearby and ready to purchase, showing an address is going to be a lot more relevant than than a phone number necessarily, or a link to the website. What we really like also is the ad group level. So we've got a lot of keywords that are themed together, where we're talking about someone is searching for a specific menu item. Well, with ad extensions, we can focus that copy so it's relevant to that menu item, but we can also talk about meal upsells, or a meal that might be included with it, or other specials that we have going on. And the other piece of that is also coupon promotions. Location extensions is, I would say, the biggest no-brainer for restaurants. What we really like from multi-location chains, and again, the format of location extensions have been around for years. The format is changing and evolving. But when you're in a city and there are multiple locations, we like how there's the pop out that gives you the option of going to finding the location nearest to you. And then on phones, click to call and the phone call extensions is another obvious extension of device specific targeting. Offer extensions. This is a piece that we find that we're very excited about. It integrates with Google Offers. It integrates with the offers that we have posted on our Google Plus local pages. And we expect that offer redemption measurement is going to be coming soon as well. It's really where the rubber meets the road, when we're taking what online activity and really tying that into the stores. Right now, using unique coupon codes, you can really measure the redemption of those offers based on your POS systems. So another cool product that we've seen in beta is image extensions. It's live and being tested across a handful of advertisers. Even advertisers we've seen it tested on, it's still only serving a small percentage of the time. But we think this is going to be another great way in order to get imagery, get people drooling, the drool factor. So promoting meals and certain menu items. A lot of that imagery is now becoming a bigger part of the search results. So a couple of things we don't want to forget is activating and using digital media to reactivate your existing customers. So it's always going to be more expensive and more difficult to change someone's mind and convince them to go to your restaurant. But when you have existing customers, reminding them and cross-selling and upselling them through digital media is a great tactic. So again, with remarketing, we're able to go after people that have already been on your website, customized to the different types of actions that they've been to on your site. So if someone's on the breakfast menu and going through the pancakes, breakfast specials, you can customize ads to remind them about breakfast during breakfast time for up to even over a year. So again, that's another great tactic to use digital media to reignite existing customers. Again, we talked a little bit about the targeting options available. The one thing I would say is just this is one where we definitely recommend some testing. When you have multiple locations in a city, at some cases we've seen some efficiencies by going after the store radius. Others that are a little bit more saturated, we see a lot more opportunity in terms of DMA targeting. So we talked a lot about search. I want to quickly just talk about a few other things in terms of what we can do on the AdWords platform beyond search. And a big part of that is going after menu sites, local sites, and review sites. So again, using the same keywords that you're targeting to the search results, we can use that to find relevant content on sites around the web and within the Google network. It's a great way to kind of extend that audience, but still stay relevant to food-related sites and and local sites. Local search is another one. Again, this is the bowl of spaghetti slide, really showing how complex the local marketplace is. But again, we need to make sure, as Anita said to begin with, there are multiple touch points. You know, five and a half, I think, was the magic number of different sources that people.
Yeah, almost 6 for restaurants.
Again, we're very excited. A lot of the opportunities here. But again, social community management, email and CRM, managing those local reviews, you know, distributing those menus, focusing on your mobile site. There's a lot of pieces to the puzzle here. I guess up next, we're going to leave you with some parting thoughts. Dive into this stuff. Test. Test across platforms. Go beyond Google search. Need to cover your ears. Go beyond Google. Test everything. Now is the time to jump in. You know, understand your attribution. Understand conversion behavior and that ROI. And the last one I will leave you with is focus on mobile. It's as bigger in restaurants than it is with any other vertical we've seen.
One thing I like to say is, if this seems daunting, you know, it can be. Honestly, you know, Google is always trying to innovate products to make it more relevant to what users need and what advertisers need to run their businesses. But it can be daunting to doing on your own. So definitely consider third parties and agencies who have experience and have been doing this for a long time and working with clients in your industry.
And with that, we've hit the 1 hour mark. Appreciate everybody coming, and hopefully this was useful. And as you know, there's some tips and tactics that you can take away from this. I think Anita and I are available to stay on the line if there are any questions. I believe go to. Oh, I'm not on chat. Oh, on GoTo. Okay. Sure. So the question from said, what's the minimum cost per week to start a campaign for private diners? So, you know, when we're talking about budgets, there's really a number of questions that I would have back, just in terms of you know, the market size that you're going after, and how many. So I don't know if that's like a private diner or a you know, a hyper local play. So I'll put a line in the sand. So let's say $250 a week is if you're going after a very small niche market as a as a way to wade in. Again, it really depends on the market size and how aggressively you're going after. And the other, especially with, you know, private dining, if that's a very niche space, there's often not as much volume on those types of keywords. So I would start with doing some keyword research, flipping things around, pretend you're one of your potential diners, and put together some words. And there's a number of tools out there that'll.
Yeah, so just to piggyback off Dan, there's a couple of tools we have available within AdWords that gives you keyword estimates. So you can see what bids would cost, but more importantly, it lets you set in daily budgets. So you can start experimenting with a couple of daily budgets, and this graph will show you everything that you can and can't do and how many clicks you can get. So I would definitely encourage you guys to use these internal tools. There's not a lot of good benchmarks, but you know, I'd say probably about $50 a day to really experiment with this. And of course, you can use these internal tools to check that.
Sure. So we had another question. Assuming you are successful at being found online, thank you for the shout out. Can you recommend a marketing dashboard to help monitor it all? So a quick glance at reviews across at Google, Yelp, Urban Spoons, Zagat, TripAdvisor. So there's a number of different tools that we would recommend for that. You know, one in terms of Google Analytics is a great one for monitoring activity on your site. There are a number of review monitoring platforms that we've played with and can recommend. Review Trackers is one of them. Review Push is another. Yext is one of the more premium tools out there that claims locations across a lot of those sites and will also monitor reviews. So those are a few names to just kind of shout out. And yeah, there are definitely a lot of tools out there to help you keep track of it and monitor what's being said.
Any other questions?
All right. I think we are last chance to ask questions. Certainly, I think you have our contact information. Heather, who was sending out the emails, so feel free to reach out if you do have any additional questions. Thank you for your time. Hope you can take some of this and turn it into some ROI for your restaurant.
Just a reminder.
Oh, sure. And a reminder, a recording of this will be available, and we will make that available on our site. Thank you again, and have a great day. Go Blackhawks.
Thank you.